Welcome back to Cron 4 News Weekend. So, Marc Allen, well, it wasn't easy for Marc Allen to become a success. I mean, he was fired as a busboy and a dishwasher for being too slow. He was fired as a typesetter for not showing up on time. He got kicked out of a Zen center for breaking the rules. Well, I'm happy to report that not only has Marc Allen become a success, but he's even written a book about the greatest secret of all. Thank you very much for joining us. First of all, before we even get to the book itself, did you have a hard time getting this published?
No, I know the publisher very well, so no problem there.
So maybe you better explain that.
Well, I own the publishing company. I started it the day I turned 30. I was unemployable through my 20s. I kept getting fired. I could not hold a job. So I had to start my own company, basically. But that day changed my life. The day I turned 30, I'd been a struggling poverty case through my 20s. And the day I turned 30, I woke up in a state of shock. I realized I wasn't a kid anymore. And I realized I had no goal in life. I'd kind of wandered around from one job to another, just making the rent, basically. So that day changed my life.
Right. Now, there was a movie called The Secret.
Yes.
Which apparently wasn't good enough for you, because that's why you kind of wrote this book. The book is called The Greatest Secret of All, Moving Beyond Abundance to a Life of True Fulfillment. Could you explain?
I loved the movie, and I thought it was great that it was so successful, #1 on Amazon for a long time. But it did just, I think, go only so far.
And for people who haven't seen the movie, just
it gave you the secret of abundance, the secret of manifesting what you want in life in very simple terms. And that's what I do in the first half of this book, too. I give my version and say everyone needs to find it in their own words, but creating success is not difficult at all. In fact, it's very simple. I have a very simple little system I developed the day I turned 30 that turned me from a poverty case to a very wealthy person.
Okay, we have about 4 minutes. Share that with us.
Okay, I'll try to do it in a minute. The day I turned 30, I paced up and down, and I took a sheet of paper, and I remembered this little game I'd played years before that I'd forgotten what I even said then, but I wrote ideal scene at the top of my sheet of paper, and I imagined 5 years had passed and everything had gone as well as I could imagine. What would my life look like? Much to my amazement, because I'd had no business training or very little experience, no education in that area at all. I had no money at all. I was scrounging to pay the rent. When I wrote my ideal scene, I wrote, I have a publishing company. Publishing my own books.
I've never written a book. What are you talking about?
I know. I dared to dream my ideal. That I had my own company, and I did books, and I did music. I do music, too. And when I dared think of my ideal, I added what is my unique contribution to humanity. I said, I have a life of ease, too. I don't work too hard. I have built a multi-million-dollar company without ever working more than 20 to 30 hours a week. That was my goal. That was my ideal. Well, of course, as soon as I dared write my ideal, I was overwhelmed with doubts and fears. And dealing with doubts and fears became the most important work of all. But that became my goal. Once I had a goal, it changed my life. It completely changed my life.
Well, wait a minute. A lot of people, they set their goal, the doubts and fears come along, and they realize, I'm crazy. I can't do this, and go back to doing whatever they were doing.
Right. So dealing with
the difference?
Well, I heard the analogy a while ago that a plane is off course over 90% of the time, but the pilot keeps correcting and correcting. I thought, that's the story of my life. Setting that goal, and then I made a list of goals, and I carry a list around today of every goal as an affirmation. I am now creating a successful company in an easy and relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way. I affirm those, and then the fourth little step I created was, for every major goal, I write a one-page plan. One-page plan. Now, of course, as soon as you do that, doubts and fears overcome you, and every time you get those doubts and fears, you get off course.
Yeah.
So getting back on course is the most important work. Just remembering that goal, going for it, doing whatever you can, whatever little thing you can do, even if it's just 5 minutes
in any
a day or a week.
Yeah.
Even a week.
I like the course correction idea, because it's true, in fact.
Yes.
Obviously, planes move around, and there's an autopilot, basically, that keeps bringing it back to the center.
Yes.
I'm curious of some examples. Now, you run a publishing company. It's New World Library. What's on your list now?
What's on our list?
What's
Oh,
on
we
your-
got
can
all
you tell
kinds
me?
of.
No, I mean on the list in your pocket.
Oh, on
Not
the list in my
not
pocket.
On your publishing
Okay.
list.
Well,
Can you share anything?
I can share, sure. I mean, I always have one for my company that we increase our profits by 50% this year, because that's my goal always. I don't always make that goal, but we have definitely grown substantially over the years. We have a good shot at it this year. Due to Oprah mentioning Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now, a book I published and an author I love.
And another way of increasing profits by mentioning the book on the air.
Yes, The Power of Now, the best book I ever read.
Are there any personal goals in there?
Yes, the first and the last are personal goals. I started with 12 goals as affirmations. Now I'm down to 6, but I've kind of combined a few. But the first
Can you
is...
give me an example? You don't have to tell us the personal
Yes,
stuff, but give me an example.
I mean, I even
say
say my family life and my marriage are sources of great grace, ease, and lightness. That's what I say. And I affirm that in an easy and relaxed manner, in a healthy and positive way.
The book is called The Greatest Secret of All, Moving Beyond Abundance to a Life of True Fulfillment by Marc Allen, who is, the book is published by the New World Library, which also happens to be owned by Marc Allen. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for sharing your wisdom with us.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm now visualizing being able to sit back and let Marty and Isabel do the rest of the work for the show.